Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got another Sinn for you today. We're featuring the Sinn EZM13.1. Now, yes, I know we actually have reviewed this model already, but I promised I would do a side-by-side video where I compare it to my original EZM13. Now, I've had this watch for 8 years, I'd say roughly. In fact, I think it's number 26. I actually had one of the very first pre-orders of this watch available in Germany. So that's why I've got one of the very first models here. And this is the latest version. But before I get too far into review, I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye of Coventry for allowing me to review this watch. They've just got a massive selection of watches. If you're based in the Midlands, please pop in, have a look. It'd be rude not to. If you're further afield, check out their website. I'll leave a link in the description below. So anyway, the differences of this, well, let's talk about sizes. The sizes are exactly the same. They're both 41mm by 15mm by 47.5, and the bracelet width is 20mm. Now, I say I'd owned the 13 for quite a few years, and I always had a bit of a gripe about it. And one of my friends helped me out, Pietro. He basically did a rendering, and I asked Sinn, would it be possible to remove the numerals off here a few years ago? And he did an amazing rendering of it, and I even emailed it to Sinn. Next thing I know, a year later, this model turns up. Now, I personally love the dial on this. I think it looks cleaner than the dial on there. Sinn have done this before with the EZM3, where you got the F and the standard model, which does away with the numerals on there. And I think personally, I prefer the cleaner look of this. But let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. So as we can see, it's still got, let's zoom in on that dial. Dial wise, it is much cleaner. I think it looks really good. One thing I love about this watch is actually it's a chronograph, but it hides it because the actual minute counter is just here. That's for constant running seconds down there with the grey background, and I think it's a genius move because you almost don't even read it's there. So if I start the chrono, there you go, that's the chrono running now, and that will be the minute counter for it. And it's just a nice, it's just a cleaner and easier way, I think, of actually reading a chronograph. And I just prefer, I say, this cleaner dial for it, because otherwise I think with the 13 it's a little bit messy with the standard 13. But you know, that's just me. I will be intrigued when I send this in for service at some point if I can get the dial swapped over, because I would personally like to. So yeah, normally Sinn are pretty open to that kind of thing, so we'll just wait and see. But anyway, so obviously the dial, there is actually a half decent amount of lume in there as well. I'll drop a shot in now. But I think overall it is a star of a watch. These watches are absolute powerhouses. They've got so much tech going on. You'll see the jump over there, and you'll see it just go over. Now there you go. That's pointing across. So when I say powerhouses, the reason why I say that is the simple fact is you have, let's see, the AR here, dehumidifying system, basically stops any chance of these watches basically getting condensation or moisture within the watch. Now, I've had a friend who had a Rolex and he went from a sauna into a plunge pool, and basically it all fogged up, causing a big problem. Now, to be fair, hadn't been serviced for a bit, but that shouldn't happen on this watch. So you've got the inert gas in there, the special seals, and then you have the copper sulfite crystals on the side. So this should show a big difference between the two, because, well, that's actually really good. That's still quite bright. This one is a little bit darker. But I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if they've changed the copper sulfites there, because it does look a slightly bigger aperture. But I don't know. I could be wrong on that one. So anyway, you've got that kind of tech in there. Also, this is a chronograph. Now, but it also has 500 meters of water resistancy. So normally you have like the stoppers to stop you pressing the crowns while underwater, because obviously if you press a crown, water can ingress into the movement. Not on this. This features Sinn's D3 system. You can press these buttons all you want underwater. It is not a problem. There are not many watches out there which have that kind of same tech. Both these watches have it. Now, if you're wondering why the crown and pushers are on the left-hand side, the military asked for this. They said that the pushers can get in the way of the gloves they're wearing. Also, one of my subscribers mentioned the other day that also when they're putting on their kind of boiler suits, you know, the all-in-one tactical gear, they can get captured on the crowns, crown and pushers. So interesting thought. So that's another reason why they actually, you know, why it is on that side. The bezel, captive style bezel. So you can't accidentally knock the bezel off, and it actually makes removing of a bezel easier with screwdrivers. Bezel action, let's have a listen. There's a little bit of back play. Yeah, no line, there's a bit of back play, but it lines up nicely. Has a solid feel to it. Let's hear the old one actually. So 8 years of use. Let's hear how this one sounds. Yeah, pretty similar. So you can see there's quite a bit of back play on there. But to be fair, it does its job nicely. The insert is aluminium. Now you can see this because you'll probably see on this one I picked up a couple of marks along the way. So at some point I will drop a new insert in there, order one, and drop that in at some point. As we come round, obviously a screw down crown. Say this is a 500 meter diver. One other special thing they do with these, they literally they say that the amplitude and the overall performance of the watch isn't affected by temperature. Now, what I mean by that, they freeze these watches down to minus 45 degrees. Both of these have been frozen at that point, and they still run good time. And then they're put all the way up to 80 degrees, and they still run within the standards required. That is truly impressive, and they do that on every single watch which features these special oils. So that I think is superb, real good. Like kind of they show it's not just in a batch of them, but they actually show they test all of them. Let me get round to the back here, peel that sticker off so you can see. Now this is another one of the differences. As you can see on the back there, it says Sinn EZM1. EZM13.1, and on my old one here it just says EZM13. So one of the small differences which is also on that one. They've also got low pressure rated. They're also incredibly anti-magnetic. So that's actually a good thing as well. The movement in this, I should point out, is it's a Sinn modified version of the 7750. And this movement has been out, I think, for coming on, when was it? About 17 years ago they brought this out, around about 2006 I think they first released it. So it's been all that time with no problems, or at least none I've heard of anyway, because say being based on that original movement is pretty bomb proof. Sapphire crystal AR coating. The bracelet is exactly the same. I'll show you on this one because I've left the plastic on there, and it is basically a H-link bracelet. This whole surface is bead blasted, and it carries a hex key, or Allen key as we say in England, kind of screw system. You get two little wrenches, the Americans say, we call them Allen keys, for taking these out, all quite straightforward. You also get a little bit of Loctite to put it in there to stop them from ever releasing. They are pretty good. I've got quite a few Sinns, and I have once stripped one. I think that was on a U2 many years ago. So, you know, they are good, but I did once have a problem, but that could happen on any. It's got the clasp is the same. Well, I'll open this one, it's brand new. The clasp is the fold over. You do have the dive link extension on there. Now, I know many people don't like this clasp. Let's zoom out. Don't like this clasp at all. But honestly, it works really well. 3 levels of micro adjustment even, and it does work well. And most importantly, it's slim. I have reviewed many watches, and I've seen a Breitling at this price point, and the clasp isn't as nice. I've also reviewed a Doxa at this price point, and the bracelet was, quite frankly, shocking at this price point. This isn't that bad at all. Okay, it's not in the same level as, say, some of the Rolex ones or a tag I recently reviewed, but those bracelets, those clasps cost in the range of £250 to £300 for a clasp. That's more than a bracelet on this entire watch. So that is to be aware of. Obviously, we do have the date window down at the 4:30 position. If I'd have been super picky, I'd love to have seen date window over here. Just because I feel it's a little bit busy in both corners of this watch. But again, that is just me being awkward. I did put this on the time grapher, and it was coming out at +2 seconds a day. Sinn just do a amazing job on their regulation, I do find. Anyway, let me put this on my wrist and you'll get an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing a Sinn UX. Bob, what you got there? Ooh, that's the new black alpinist. That actually, at the point I recorded this video, hasn't even been released yet, and I'm not allowed to show it before this certain point. So anyway, let me put this on and get an idea. Let's say I've got a 7¼ inch wrist. I would say you can easily accommodate an 8 and just over an 8-inch wrist, and that's it on my wrist there. Now, I've heard some people say 15 is far too chunky, but if you can show me an automatic, with calendar works chronograph at under £5,000, which is thinner than this, then please do. I'll be interested, and also has a good decent amount of water resistancy. So there you go. I say this watch, you can also fit it on leather strap options. You can also put it on the silicone. I've had this on the white U50 silicone, and it looks for beers personally. Anyway, all the best, and I will leave you to it, guys. So stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.